At the outset, it may be helpful to do a sanity check. I'm going to be making some novel, controversial, even potentially inflammatory claims, such as drawing a correlation between the demonic beast of the earth in Revelation 13 and Christian nations, or the mark of the beast with the lifestyle of Christians in said Christian nations. Now, if someone is used to identifying the eschatological bad guys of Scripture, such as the Antichrist, the false prophet, the beast, with overtly evil figures who come out with gunslinging saying anyone who professes Jesus is the Son of God gets killed, gets put in jail, then the types of claims I'm making would seem worthy of derision and scorn, and you would just mockingly dismiss them. But whoever's still with me, I would urge you to consider how often Scripture presents God's own people, and even in particular, the respected leaders within God's own people, as their own greatest cause of trouble. Take, for example, Aaron, who was destined to be the first high priest of Israel and was responsible with forming and leading the people in making the golden calf and worshiping it. Consider Solomon, who built the temple in Jerusalem, who saw the glory presence come down and fill that temple, who wrote presumably 2 books of the Bible and a good portion of the third book of Proverbs, and also set up shrines to worship Moloch and Asherah and Baal as his pagan wives led him, and precipitated the division of Israel into 2 kingdoms from which it has not yet recovered to this day. Consider in the New Testament Peter, Jesus' inner circle of closest disciples, and how when Jesus was talking about how he would be crucified and suffer in Jerusalem, and Peter said, "Nope, may it never be, not on my watch, not going to happen." And Jesus had to rebuke Peter, or at least the spiritual demonic forces influencing Peter, and say, "Get behind me, Satan. Your ways are not the ways of God." So, considering these cases, it starts to seem not only plausible, but in fact, even prima facie quite reasonable, even likely, that Satan, who is evil but no dummy, that his mastermind scheme for deceiving the world would involve internal threat. When I worked in cybersecurity, we would often talk about internal versus external threats. Internal threats being the employee who uses their elevated privilege on the internal network to exploit vulnerabilities in ways that the external threat wouldn't have access to. Of course, national security agencies in all different countries are well familiar with the recurring theme of a mole, of a traitor who exploits the system from within. And so, both through scriptural principles and what we know from real world analogies, it's no surprise if perhaps Satan's greatest deception would involve the church itself, professing Christian nations, professing Christian leaders themselves. And so this threat is very real and, in fact, a very worthy topic for serious consideration.